More toll roads are coming to your state. Be prepared as states begin to convert highways, roads, and streets into toll lanes. Don't worry, they'll send you a bill in the mail or they'll just charge your credit card, which you'll have on file. You will have to pay for every mile driven. Now, governments are trying to tax us into submission to take mass transit. So who does that really hurt? Well, service workers, landscapers, plumbers, and many, many others. So how did we get here? Well, the state and federal government started taxing us each gallon of gasoline pumped in the United States since 1932. And drivers have been paying these taxes. And the revenue is supposed to be used for road repairs and public transportation and trains and buses. Currently, the federal tax is 18.4 cents per gallon, or 24.4 cents per gallon for diesel. State gas taxes range anywhere from a high of 61 cents per gallon in Pennsylvania to a low of 8 cents a gallon in Alaska. But environmentally friendly motivated improvements and fuel-efficient cars and the move to electric vehicles or EVs translate to less gas sold, resulting in less tax revenue collected, which means they're going to get it a different way. State and federal governments are looking for a new way to fund the transportation and infrastructure to make the roads safe. Mileage-based user fees, vehicle miles traveled fees, road user charges, or highway use fees means drivers pay a tax for each mile traveled. Before we jump down the rabbit hole with a lot more details you need to know about, I want to remind you to subscribe and click that little bell for notifications so you don't miss anything. We give you more than car reviews and first looks of new vehicles. We give you car smarts, because knowledge is power. Washington, D.C. and states including Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Connecticut, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Vermont, and Virginia are all on board to charge these taxes and fees, while Oregon, Utah, and Virginia have already implemented these pilot programs. At least 31 states have laws requiring a special registration fee for plug-in electric vehicles, and 18 states also assess a fee for plug-in hybrid vehicles. The fee for EVs and gas-powered vehicles will all have to pay, varying from state to state. In 2022, Virginia offered a pilot program, Mileage Choice Program, giving drivers paying the highway use fee the option to pay on a per-mile basis. They save money if they drive less than 11,600 miles, the average driven per year for all Virginians. Miles are recorded by a device installed in a person's car and connected to a smartphone. Programs in Oregon and Utah are similar. Remember, that opens your system and can cause hacking. But does this add up? Those who drive high-efficiency gas vehicles often pay twice, both at the gas pump and for the highway usage fees. In Utah, all plug-in hybrids and gas hybrid vehicles must pay a road usage charge ranging from $21.75 to $56.50. Not so bad, but EV owners who don't buy gas pay $30.25 a year. In Oregon, the vehicle registration fee is based on fuel efficiency. The better the miles per gallon, the higher the cost of registration. Drivers with high-efficiency vehicles can enroll in the Origo and get a registration discount. Origo participants pay 1.9 cents for each mile driven, and the money goes to a state highway fund. A device on the vehicle tracks miles driven, and drivers of fuel-powered vehicles can receive a credit for fuel tax and remote emissions testing. With that theory, does it make sense to buy a fuel-efficient car? You will have to do the math on that because you'll actually pay more. Drivers are not happy and the public is resisting. Studies recognize that drivers are concerned about the privacy of adding an open device that tracks their miles, adding another new tax, and are concerned about overpaying as well as their privacy. The privacy concerns are still an unsolved issue. Installing a device into your onboard diagnostic, or the OBD, that's that little plug that's underneath your dash, creates an open network for others to access your information and your vehicle. DOTs must collect mileage data from each vehicle for each type of road that vehicle travels on, but still requires to do so in a manner that protects your privacy of drivers. Having a device like an Easy Pass could work, but drivers could remove it or even block it. Developers expect a third party, not the government, will keep track of where drivers go and how much they owe. And some studies have indicated that because a third party is doing the tracking, the data is safe from the government eyes. But this information could be sold or used for other uses. The data would go to a government contractor that would deduct the amount owed from a user's credit card and pay it to the states where the vehicle had been. The federal government collects 18.4 cents per gallon in federal gas tax. That has not increased since 1993. Because of inflation, the revenue has about 1/3 less purchasing power than it did when the tax was last increased, according to January 2022 report from the Federal Government Accountability Office. In that report, the Congressional Budget Office, or the CBO, estimates that increasing gap between projected fuel tax revenues and the federal highway spending will require a $191 billion in additional funding in order to maintain current spending levels for fiscal years 2022 through 2031. In November of 2021, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act allowed for the transfer of $118 billion in general revenue to the Highway Trust Fund, which will cover the estimated revenue shortfalls through at least 2026. While these funds will cover a portion of the estimated shortfall in Highway Trust Fund, this transfer represents a one-time infusion of funding and is not sustainable over the long term of source for revenues. This means drivers will pay to fill the federal and state fund with lots of extra taxes and fees. As costs increase, so will those taxes and fees. There has to be another way to fund the infrastructure. In 2015, the U.S. Department of Transportation established a Surface Transportation System Funding Alternatives Program to provide grants to states to explore the feasibility of user-based alternative funding mechanisms. Wow, that's a tongue twister. That is what funded numerous studies across the country. I think they should take that money from the study and put it into the fund. It would make your taxes less. The Federal Highway Administration is working diligently to respond to Congress's directive that we implement programs to better understand the full range of factors involved in implementing a mileage-based user fee, including public acceptance and administrative feasibility. This was stated by a spokesperson for the Federal Highway Administration. It's important to note that many of the state and federal funds are being used to add charging infrastructure for electric cars. There are also private companies investing in charging networks. However, everyone is footing the bill, and this has made some drivers very aggravated. There is so much more to discuss on this. You can put that in the comments down below, and let's start the conversation. If you like this video, you can give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. I'm looking forward to your comments because they're always really good, and I'll be happy to answer and get involved in the conversation. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee. The link is in the description, plus all the links for my website, social media, book, and podcast. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.